Hello everyone, my name is Sharon and today I'm going to be presenting about correction of error in accounting. This is going to be our learning objectives for today. In the end of this presentation, we are going to be able to identify and explain how some errors can be corrected using journals and other errors that result in an unbalanced trial balance. And the other. How and why do we correct errors? Well, in most cases, errors occur because the bookkeeper either lacks accounting expertise or is careless. And the moment an error is spotted, investigations should be taken and corrections are made. Otherwise, your financial statements are irrelevant. You can spot the easy errors when the debits do not equal the credits in the trial balance. The harder errors is harder to identify because it does not affect the trial balance. First, we are going to discuss about the types of error in accounting. First is error of omission. It happens when a transaction isn't recorded at all in the book of prime entry. Example is when 150 of cash sales is forgotten and no entries are made in both sales account and cash book. Second is error of commission. It happens when transaction is recorded in right amount, but the wrong accounts of the same class. Example, purchase of motor vehicle was recorded in the account for office furniture. Both accounts are assets. Both motor vehicles and office furniture are assets, but it is entered in the wrong account. Next is error of principal. It happens when transactions are recorded improperly. It is recorded in right amount, but to the wrong class of account. The expense of an asset was treated as the asset itself, not expense. Like when an expense of motor vehicle fuel is recorded in the motor vehicle account, not motor vehicle expense, where it should have been recorded in motor vehicle expense. Next error is we have error of original entry. It happens when an incorrect amount is posted to the correct accounts. Example, the bookkeeper incorrectly entered payment received $524 instead of $542 in sales journal. Next is complete reversal of entries. This happens when the right amount is entered in the correct account, but the debit and credit categories are switched. Example, a payment made to Sam is debited to the bank account and credited to Sam's account, where it should have been credited to the bank account and debit Sam's account to minus our trade payable to Sam. Next is compensating errors. It happens when two or more errors cancel out each other out. Example, invoice for 1,200 in sales journal is posted to the customer's account as 1,000. At the same time, sales journal is undercast by $200. The debit balance in customer's account and credit balance in sales account will then be undercasted by $200. Next is using journal to correct errors. When using journals to correct errors, we can ask 3 questions to ourselves that will help us to correct these errors. First is how has the transaction been recorded, which is the wrong one. Then 2, how should the transaction have been recorded, and what is the difference between the wrong one and the right one. And the last one is what adjustments are required to correct the error. Next is suspense account. What is a suspense account? Suspense account is an account open to record a difference between the debit and credit totals of the trial balance. This is opened in a general ledger with a balance on whichever side of the trial balance has the smaller total. And the suspense account should be opened only when attempts to find the cause of a difference on trial balance have been unsuccessful. And we have 4 types of error that are involved in suspense account. First is single entries, where only half of the transaction have been posted. Example, when a payment of wages is only entered in credit side of bank, but not in debit side of wages expense account. Next error is we have same side entries, where both entries are made on the same side of 2 separate accounts. Example, when a payment of wages has been credited to both bank and wages expense, it should have only been credited to bank and debited to wages expense account. Next is unequal entries, where the correct side and accounts of entries but the wrong figure, like debit wages of 450 is credited to the bank only as 300, so there is 150 difference in the entry. And the last one is balancing of arithmetical error. It happens when balance on one or more account are over or under added. Next is errors affecting profits, current assets, and current liabilities. If a set of provisional financial statements have been prepared when errors are found, then it is possible that the profit figure will need changing as well as current asset or current liabilities. Now we will have an example case to explain the errors. This is taken from the accounting textbook. Example case. Monroe constructed a trial balance and discovered that it did not balance. He was forced to create a suspense account with a debit balance of 620. On closer inspection, the following errors and omissions were discovered. Now, first, we are going to make the journal entries to correct it. First, a receipt of 1,355 from a credit customers had been credited to both the sales ledger and control account and the bank. Sales ledger, control account, and the bank. So the correcting journal will be debiting bank account and crediting the suspense account. A receipt received from customer means it should have been debited, not credited. We correct this by debiting bank account by 1,355 first to erase the wrong credit, then debiting bank by the same amount to plus the money received. That is why the amount we put here is 2,710, not 1,355. Since we are only correcting bank account, we use suspend account in the credit side. This is also called the partial error of reversal. The next error is a sale of a motor car for 1,840 had been credited to sales. To correct this, we debit sales account by 1,840 and we credit motor car by 1,840 to minus off the asset that we sell. Next is a check payment of 795 relating to rent and rates had been entered in the book as 759. We correct this by debiting the difference, so we only record the difference of the two amounts. Since the real amount is more than what is recorded before, so we plus the rent expense in the R. So the correction journal is debiting rent account by 336, which is the difference, and electricity by 36, same in credit. Next is a cash sale of 1,890 had been recorded in the bank account only. We correct this by using suspense account in debit because it is only recorded in bank. So this is only a single entry where only one account needs to be recorded. And we debit the sales account to record the cash sales as we haven't recorded before. Next is wages and salaries had been over-added by $200. We correct this by, of course, crediting the wages and salaries by 200 to minus off the over addition and use the suspense account in debit. The last error is $605 paid for insurance had been entered into the heat and light account. This insurance and heat and light account can be an asset, but it becomes an expense when we pay something for it. We correct this error by debiting insurance 605 because we paid for it, so it's an expense, and crediting heat and light 605 to minus off the record that we wrongly entered before. Next is starting the suspense account with the balance difference and trial balance given before. After we make the correcting journal, we then put it into the suspense account. So we start off the suspense account by a debit balance of 620. And then, in this case, 620 in debit side. This means that debit side of trial balance is smaller by 620. And next is we record the bank in credit side, which comes from the first error. As you can see here, the journal entry is suspense in credit, so we also put it in the suspense account, also in credit side. Next is the error number 4. This also has a suspense account in debit, so we record the same amount in this journal entry to the suspense account. And the same thing for error number 5. We also use suspense account in debit for 200, and we record the same thing in the suspense account here. Next is calculating the corrected profit of the year. As you can see here, the effect of the error on the profit is only error number 2, 4, and 5 because it involves a change in sales and expense which directly adjusts profit. We also start off the correction of profit with the draft statement of the profit or loss for $12,600. And here we have a revised profit of the year. Next is correction of current assets and current liabilities. Here is given the correction journal. And with the journal given, we can start making the original list of current assets and liabilities to get the net current asset before adjustments are made, which is shown here. And to count net current assets is to minus current assets, total current assets, by the total current liabilities. After making adjustments to the current asset and liabilities, you will get the revised net current assets. This can be done by counting it first in a working sheet. So we minus the original current assets amount with the adjustments we made in a working sheet first. Then we can make a new list of the current asset and liabilities. And here we can get the net current assets, the new one. And after listing the new adjusted current assets and liabilities, we can make the calculation of net current assets, which includes net current assets per draft, statement of financial position, and if the revised net current assets, which is 12,220, is the same as in the one in this list, then this should be correct. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you understand. Thank you.